All right. This meeting is being live streamed. So, fellas, we are live. So, we're here again another Thursday with the Triple Profits podcast. I have, as usual, my brothers, Tavante, the guru. How you doing, Tavante?
Doing good yourself, bro.
All right, man. I'm doing well. And we have the champ, real estate, JD McLemore.
Welcome back, Marcus. Another year older.
Oh yeah. I took last week off for my birthday. Kind of a blur last couple of days. Morty and drinking don't mix, but I learned the hard way. JD, we have a special guest, and today's discussion, I've got some questions, but I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce our guest.
Man, no worries. No, I appreciate it. So today's guest, another one of my friends from the past and future. This man I have seen just build his business from the ground up. Like literally watched him via social media just become a monster in the wholesale and flipping game. I mean, from literally just watching him find deals and build them up himself to now creating courses and teaching other people to do the same as him. This young man has flipped over 38 million in properties year to date and is continuing and looking to build even further out. So without further ado, we have Jeremy Rubin, AKA, better known as the Friendly Flipper. What's going on, Jay?
Wow, that's what an amazing intro. Man, I'm doing great. JD, how are you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. I appreciate you taking this time out. I know you're a busy man. Judging by your posts, your business, everything you're doing, you're moving fast. So appreciate you taking this time out, not only for our audience, but for us in here as well. So, real quick, go ahead, introduce yourself, give us a quick, intro, who you are, what you do.
Absolutely, yes. So, as JD mentioned, my name is Jeremy Rubin, also known as the Friendly Flipper. I currently fix and flip homes all over California with a focus in the Central Coast. That's basically halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco on the coast. And I've been flipping real estate since 2014 is when I first got started with fixing or wholesaling in contracts. And then I did my first fix and flip end of 2015. Once I cashed that check off that first fix and flip, that was it. I put in my 2 weeks notice, and January 2016 left the corporate world for good. And now we're rocking and rolling, just building the business. Haven't looked back since. And I also, along the way, built out an education platform to help other people who want to break into the world of fixing and flipping and real estate investing as well. So that's a little bit about me. Great to be here with everybody on this Thursday evening.
Hey man, love it, dude. I love, like I said, what you're doing, how you're building it out. But I love your story too, because I was somewhat a part of that, and I've seen it happen. We worked at corporate together at Verizon, and I saw you as an assistant manager, doing your thing, somewhat caught in the rat race. And I know we kind of had a conversation, like not knowing that storm was brewing for you to get out of that rat race,
Yeah.
It's weird because I think when you're in it, we talked about it, when you're in it, you can't talk to everybody about it because they may look down on you or it'll put a glass ceiling over you. But give me some feedback on, one, when did that seed get planted that this wasn't going to be enough for you working at corporate? And then we'll go on to your story about how you're progressing that out of it.
Okay, yeah. So when I first got into it, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I thought it was the best job in the world for the longest time, because I looked at it like, man, this is, fantastic. I've got vacation, I got benefits. I'm, making 60, 70 grand a year, doing some pretty easy work. I thought, like basically talking to people about phones, and then eventually a little bit more with raises and moving up to management. But like, it was awesome. So I loved it for a long time. And then I got to a point, I would say around the 7, 8 year mark. I'd seen enough people come and go. I'd gone through enough. I kind of see, at that time, I kind of like my eyes were like open to like the politics of how people move around and when people get to move up and how that all worked. And so I would say like around probably 7 or 8 years in, is when I kind of became like more aware of like, hey, wait a second, like I'm seeing all these people come and go, people getting, hired and fired, the turnover. And I'm thinking like, if I've made it this far, I must be doing something right. Like I must be bringing something to these guys that they're keeping me around. So that's when I was like, maybe they need me more than I need them. Maybe I had it backwards this whole time. Like I need this job. This is a great job. Like what else would I do? And the further along you go, the longer you spend there. It's not like I had a bunch of different jobs. So I was like, oh, this is kind of like, what I do, you identify with it a lot. And so it was right around that time. And I was there for a total of 11 years. But I started to realize like, oh, wait a second, like I could probably be doing what I'm doing here somewhere else, or using these skills for something. And I knew I always wanted to own a business. I just wasn't sure what kind of business. So I always had that like vision of like someday, like that's what I really wanted to do. But I didn't know it was going to be real estate. But that's when I really started looking at different options and like trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? Like, what's the possible next step? But it was right around then, I would say. And then within like not too long, probably from the aha moment to the time I decided I was going to change was, I would say, within a 6-month period. Like I was like, okay, I figured it out, and it's like shock. And then it's like, wait, oh shit. It's like, I don't know, the Matrix. You figure out, hey, wait a second, I'm in the Matrix here. So it's like, takes a second to like, all right, well, now what? And then okay, I got to get out. I got to do something. And then
Now, what were some
went
of the
from there.
options? Because I know, you said you started in wholesaling, and wholesaling isn't one of those things where, you just say, "Hey, my aspirations is to be a wholesaler." But what did some of those things look like? The side hustles on the outside of the
Yeah,
Verizon space. What does that look like for you?
I had an auto detailing business for about uh, 18 months or so, where I actually got bought into this existing business. One of the owners ended up passing away. The main guy, actually. Yeah, so this is a kind of a business failure along the way. So yeah, so actually the main guy, I bought into this. The guy passed away, and from there it was like in the hands of me, who was like supposed to kind of just be like a partner on the side, working my job, and then helping here and there when I can, to basically just in the hands of myself and the other like main dude. So we worked on that for a bit. I thought that was my thing at the time. That was the side hustle. So no matter what, we're gonna make this happen. And so we had a contract with the country club in San Luis Obispo. We were washing cars every Saturday morning. We would drive the detail van up there, set up the canopies and everything, and just wash cars. And then I would leave there at noon to go work at the Verizon store and do my closing shift from 12 to 9. So basically, like, I don't know, I think we started around 5:30 or so to get up there. And so that was a big one. That ended up failing though, just due to, I don't know, we didn't have enough basically business. And looking back, I mean, now I understand more like than I did then too. But also it's just like I'm kind of glad like it wasn't really the business. Like it was one along the way that taught me some things and stuff. But also like the whole plan wasn't for me to be that involved. But
Mhm.
so that
I mean,
one,
like washing cars at a country club on a Saturday morning. To me, that sounds like, hey, $150 a car. Was it the
oh man,
pricing thing, or they're like, hey kid, here you go, young man?
yeah, it was, dude. Man, yeah, it was like 25 to 45 bucks, like at the most. Like so, they weren't. I mean, we were making like we didn't break 1,000 ever. I don't think in a day.
Oh,
Like
wow.
at there, like there was like yes, maybe 15, 20 cars. Um, so it wasn't ever anything crazy, you know. It was just a lot of like grit. We probably should have been charging more. Like now that I look back, it's like, dang,
Look,
this is a country
you
club.
got,
And
you
we
see
were
his
giving them
mind
like
working when
the
you said that, Mark?
like.
His numbers
I was
start
like,
crunching when you said that.
yeah, yeah. So that was yeah, but that was one along the way. Affiliate marketing, I explored that as far as, you know, I thought that could be something. It all started because I just started searching for home-based businesses or working from home, like Googling that and searching on YouTube. And so various things would pop up and, you know, the ads would start to show up um, that were being targeted towards, you know, my searches or whatever. So that's where real estate ads started popping up, and a wholesale ad popped up, and that's where I got introduced to this concept. I had no idea about wholesaling. Um, to go back to your, you know, original question and point there with that, you don't think about wholesale, like who knows, like I didn't even know that existed until this ad popped up, and this guy's like, do you want to, like, he was just speaking exactly, like telling me exactly what I wanted to hear, like, do you want to be able to work from home, like without an office, like set your hours, like work from a laptop, like create your own, you know, however much, make how much you want. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. So like, how does this work? And then he breaks down wholesaling, and that's what introduced me to the concept. And that's where I made a Facebook, or not a Facebook, an Instagram story post just the other day. I was in the parking lot of the last Verizon store that I worked at, and based on that guy's ad, I called their, you know, I did the call to action, called them up, booked a call with the guys on my lunch break. So walked across the street from the Verizon store to the pizza place and took that phone call there on my lunch, where they were basically pitching me like mentorships, that they're telling me they're going to teach me everything about wholesaling and how to create this business in a box um, from home. And I thought, man, it sounds like amazing. It sounds like, where do I sign? And but then we got to the pricing point, and this was new to me, and I didn't really even knew if it worked. Like, it sounds great, but basically they wanted me to commit the first $500,000 in profits to them, like up front, like no matter what I
Oh,
buy or sell, or
Shit.
like like basically any, like sign a contract or any real estate deal I do, like for the first 500,000, it's they get a piece of it. And I'm like, well, and they wanted like $7,000 up front to start, and so I was like, well, that's a little bit of I got to think about that. So because I mean, I don't know, like what, like how is it even real? Like, well, am I going to sign my life away? Is it going to be like a terrible mistake, like to, you know, commit to, like, is this a bad deal, like, you know, kind of thing. Those are all the things that are going through my mind, because like I said, I don't know, you know, it's completely uncharted territory. It's not like I'm familiar with even the idea of really selling real estate or buying it. So I was like, sounds not great, so let me just put that to the side. But then there could be something to what they're saying, though. So I was like, okay, so now I know about this wholesaling thing, and I started just going crazy, searching like everything I could on that YouTube. That's how I found Bigger Pockets,
mm.
and that's what turned me on to that. So I'm thankful for that YouTube ad that popped up, and was just like, you want to work from home? And
Even
I'm like,
even though they try
yes.
to price, even though they try to price gouge you.
Yeah, right. So
Okay, so real, man, that's pretty cool. So real quick, give a brief overview on exactly what is wholesale.
sure. So uh, wholesaling, we've got someone who wants to sell their property. I, as a real estate investor, I talk to them. I get to understand what they want to accomplish. Really, figure out what their problem is. Provide them with different solutions. Um, in general, though, that's what we do overall, like as a real estate investor. But basically, so I understand. Okay, they want to sell this property that's um, needs some work. They want to move to across the U.S. As soon as they can. They'd like to be there by the first of the year. So I'm like, okay, perfect. So the house needs work. There's some urgency behind it, and it's probably not going to be a great fit for a listing, or and that's kind of an unpredictable timeline. So would you consider a cash offer, like a cash sale? Okay, yeah, they would consider that. Great. We can do a cash sale. It'll be quick. You don't have to pay any commissions. There's not going to be, I'll even pay your closing costs. You won't have to make any repairs. It'll be as is. It'll be on your terms. So a very easy sale for a seller. Basically, virtually no work. Once they sign, it's off their plate. They don't have to do anything. So as long as you can agree upon a price, then it's going to pretty much be the easiest sale a seller will ever do, because they won't have to show the house. They won't have to get it ready. They won't have to deal with different buyers, offers, chances of it not going through, all that. So basically, we make a very attractive cash offer. So basically say to the seller, okay, well, we can pay you $70,000 for this house. We know that if it was all fixed up, it would be worth, if it was brand new, completely updated, we could maybe sell it for $125,000. Will you take 70? And they're like, well, considering the condition and the convenience you're offering me, yeah, I'll take 70. So that's how I buy a house cash in general, like now as a flipper or as a wholesaler. So it's the same thing basically up to that point. So at that point, now that they've agreed to sell it as a wholesaler, instead of buying and finishing and closing on the purchase myself, I'm going to basically sell that interest that I have in the property, sell that contract. The sellers agreed to sell at that 70,000 price. I could sell my ability to purchase it for a fee. So now I have a cash buyer, someone who wants to go in, buy the house, perform the renovations, put it on the market and flip it, rather than them having to go find the house themselves, do the negotiation. They can come to me and I can just assign my interest, and they can pay a total of 75,000. So I make 5,000, the seller gets their 70,000, and the end buyer gets the house that they can perform some renovations and put on the market.
Makes money there. Got it. Okay, perfect. So you're looking for people that want convenience to sell, want to sell quick, and they're finding investors that want to make some money and have the time and the resources to commit to something like that.
Yes. And
Gotcha.
yeah, and I know you said for a quick overview, that's kind of a
No, that was good.
It was good. Definitely.
Okay. It can be so that's the concept of the assignment. So once like that is like, okay, that's a thing now, which I had no idea, like, oh, you can assign a contract. I didn't even know what putting a house under contract meant when I started. So it was like, I had no real estate background, no contracting background. So anybody from any background can get into this and learn it. So now that you have the concept of assigning, that's a thing. Okay, great. So you could actually, it doesn't have to be necessarily a house that needs a ton of repairs. It could just be a property that someone agrees to sell you at this price. You know, someone else will buy it at this price, and you make some money in between. The house could be in great condition. We just did one locally here with a duplex that was, not, it doesn't need a huge renovation, but we were able to connect a buyer and a seller, or I should say a seller and a buyer, and make some money in between. The buyer's going to keep it as a rental investment. So it doesn't always have to be that, what you might think of a house with just boarded up windows and overgrown yard and roof that's flying away in the wind. Like, it could be a normal looking, or just any property that you can do that with anything, with land, with mobile homes, with multifamily, any type of. And that's what really, like, once I understood, like, oh wow, this game, you can play it like in so many ways. You can create solutions, like we can all create, like there's no like really like restrictions. Like, as long as you agree, the seller agrees, you can do whatever you want. And that's what was like, okay, not only can I make some money with this, it sounds like, but it's actually like, oh man, I could dig this. Like, this is fun. Like, so that's what really, really drew me in.
So
I know, like, the big bucks and the draw in real estate in general, a lot of people kind of draw towards wholesaling too, because it's kind of the entry point and that investor chart. But you said you did your first deal in 14. How long did it take you from, starting on YouTube University until you actually closed that first transaction?
It was so, okay. So once I started learning, it was about a good 6 months before I took any action at all. It was just I was in learning mode, just trying to figure out like what to do, just trying to absorb, like learning the concepts, the terminology, just and not know, basically not feeling like I'm ready to go. Like like, because I don't know if I know enough to take the first step, and there's a lot of uncertainty. So it took me about 6 months of feeling like, okay, I'm ready to do something. I'm ready to get out of learning mode and at least just take that first step. Then from there, it took about 6-ish months to get that first deal, which was a wholesale I did on a mobile home in a park in Oceano, and put it under contract for $50,000, and assigned it for $59,000, and paid the closing costs on both sides, and made about $6,300. And I was like, man, this is more than I made on any other like single Verizon check. This is pretty cool. It's real now. Like, so let's go. Like, oh, there might be something to this. And um, that was it from there. Like it was real. It was like all this thing that the guy was talking about on YouTube, on the YouTube commercial, actually does work. Like like just like kind of like mind blown at that point. Like, wow, it does actually work. And then from there, it was just, okay, what's the next step? And I just kept asking myself that. So then that went into invested in some postcards and started sending out postcards, and got the next few wholesale deals from those, until I found one that was suitable for the right conditions for a fix and flip deal. And that's how I got into that first flip.
So Jeremy, I'm hearing about your story leaving the corporate world, making that leap of faith, getting excited about real estate, but still, it sounds like you didn't really just jump full on in. What do you think what's the difference between you and maybe the people that they're around in your circles in those beginning times? Like, what separates you from like them? Why are you doing this and they chose to stay there, or what separates you guys?
Ooh, that's interesting, because at that point I was, so there's my work friends, and then there's my, outside of work friends. And none of those circles were part of like entrepreneurial mindset or even like the idea of personal development and like and growth and just like all of that stuff. Like we didn't talk about it. It just wasn't a thing. We are just, this wasn't, it's funny because like some of the leadership at Verizon, when they would come back from conferences, would mention some things like names of books and stuff that I hear, and now it's like, oh yeah, like now like I'm so familiar, but I feel like, man, it's like they were keeping the good stuff like for themselves, like or something. But so yeah, there wasn't that. Even when I got into the real estate thing, I just knew I wanted to get out of there. I didn't want to be in that job. There was a lot of just like feeling it got to the point where I was just like feeling dead inside, just going inside every single day. And it just like, I realized like I have nothing to lose. Like if I try this, I have nothing to lose. But I didn't discover like all the like hustler mindset or like Grant Cardone or like Tim Grover or like any of like that whole entrepreneurial world. I didn't know it even existed at that point until I was actually out after I had left the corporate world. So a lot of the people didn't understand what I was trying to do. They're like, why? You have a great job, you got benefits, they paid for your college, like, you got vacation, like what do you want? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, what more do you want? Like, why? Like, and so that was a little like, they didn't understand. A lot of people just didn't understand.
It's frustrating.
Like, what do you like?
Frustrating.
Yeah. So it was, I guess, kind of like, I don't know, very lone, like wolfish feeling in a lot of time, or feeling alone feeling. Because like you mentioned, JD, like you don't know who else is like you can say what to in the corporate world. Like I didn't know that he was also feeling like, oh man, I want to, eventually not work here, or like, because we come in,
I want to
smile,
get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. I said that very, very Verizon PC. But yeah, you don't know, because everyone comes in with their corporate smile and you're like, yo, it's good. Of course it's good. Yeah, things are great. Yeah, KPI numbers are good, or accessory ratio. Yeah, like you don't know who you can, who's cool, who's not cool.
Right.
So
right.
So it's very, you're in a very alone place. But I was fortunate to have a couple good buddies who were like understood. They're like, yeah, man, I see, you should go for it. Just yeah, man. Who I remember talking to, like, just at times just being like, yeah, like, I don't know, like, I don't want to be here. And they're like, yeah, man, just you got this, just take the leap. And so I think very few people will understand it, but like here and there, like there's definitely a community. Now I realize, man, how many people are out there that we could connect with, that are like-minded in that way. But at the time I was like, pretty alone.
Did you feel like, you were an entrepreneur stuck, trapped, or was it just like, hey, I there has to be another way?
Dang, that's a good question. I've had entrepreneurial like little ventures throughout, like one of my first like ideas, like back when I was like 5 or 6, put up these posters on the mailboxes in Palmdale, East Side Palmdale, California, putting up posters on mailboxes. Okay. Jeremy's bike polishing service, because I knew the neighbors the neighbors raced BMX bikes. So I thought, oh well, they come back, their bikes are muddy. like I'll clean up the bikes. So, and then the detailing thing happens, what, 15 years later. That's weird.
The grown up
Like,
version of it.
yeah. But man, and that was like, so then I went over there. I went to do my first sales pitch. I approached I didn't even know what it was at the time, but like now thinking back, to approach the neighbor. Okay, and I had to be 6 or 7, not 5, because that wouldn't make sense. But I walk over there and I'm like, hey, I got this. I showed him this Mother's polish can that I spent like $7 on or something. And I was like, yeah, so I just got this so I could clean up bikes. You guys need any bikes to like polish? And he pulls out, oh, I got that same stuff, like the same can of Mother's polish and wax. I was like, oh man. Can't get a break.
The market is saturated.
Yeah. So,
but you know what I heard you say, Jeremy? I heard you say that like I felt like I was dying inside, and I think a lot of folks just don't feel that deadness. They're just like numb to it, or maybe they feel it and they don't have the courage to say, you know what, I think I'm dying inside. They kind of hold things, like you said, like just put the smile on their face and they just go throughout, and they don't understand like that's the calling. Like you answered the call.
Yeah.
That's the call.
Yeah.
You know.
That's
so
big.
Welcome to the entrepreneur world. You answer the call, bro.
Yeah, because I know, man.
It's that. Yeah, man. It's that voice or that gut feeling that if it's telling you like you're meant for something
not
more,
right.
Something's
wrong.
not right. You're meant for something more. Like I ignored that for the longest time too. Like that was, but looking, I didn't realize I was ignoring it. Just like you're saying, like there's a lot of people like, because you're in the matrix. Crazy.
Yeah, you had that calling early, man. 5 or 6. I was all about Transformers and He-Man.
Oh shit.
For real.
Yeah.
Nintendo had just came out when I was 5.
Oh yeah. I wanted to buy my next bike. My parents were like, you can buy something if you make the money, you could do it. Go for it. But no, it's definitely Legos, Hot Wheels, building Lego cities and stuff. That was definitely like.
So real quick, just so going back down. Yeah, so good. Going back, so you discover wholesale, you get your first deal, 6,300 in the pocket. You're like, okay, this is real, and I can play this game. Did it instantly click, and did you go full in then, or did you give yourself a buffer, or was there just like a final moment where you're like, all right, peace out, here's my 2 weeks, I'll see y'all when I see you?
So I did the first few wholesale deals, and then while I was working there, because my plan was not to just leave. Like I wanted to make sure if I was leaving, I wasn't trying to come back. So I wanted to make sure I had enough money. But so I was scared. I was like, looking back, it was a lot of fear. There was a lot of fear there where confidence due to, well, I had to know it worked for me to like, I didn't want to assume it would work and have it not work out. Because I'll do a lot to the like kind of, I think just corporate conditioning, like because you can lean so much on the company that even if something that they launch doesn't work out or a project doesn't work out, you still have your job. Like, but if this didn't work, like then what? Like, so I think that played into like, I was very thinking along those lines that I had to make sure it worked. And so I had to have enough confidence that I could do it. And that also confidence in the bank that I could live for 6 months, like in case, so it wasn't until once we closed on the fix and flip, which I managed during my lunch breaks and just after work and stuff, that's when I was like, okay, yeah, this is good enough. I could do it. I could live on this, this is half a year's pay right here in one chunk. This is my shot. Like if I don't have the guts to go right now, like I'll probably never do it. So that was it. At that point, it was like,
tell us, man, how did you find that fix and flip? Was it postcard, cold calling, and how
Oh
did
yeah.
you acquire it, fund it? Walk us through that deal, man. That
Hey,
first one.
hey, real quick, even more so, how much was that check?
So that was 44 grand, 44K on that. And I was like, okay, this is good. This is proof enough now. This is like, hell yeah. Like this could seriously replace my career. Like,
Yeah.
because there's also a lot of like, I don't know, it's like very attached to you kind of like a long-term career. Like there's something like you feel like you have something there that which you do, but at the same time, it's kind of like it's a false sense of security in a way,
It
just
is.
it's because it could easily be taken away from you. But if you don't understand that it's false security, it's real security to you. So it's like,
Mm.
and it wasn't just like instant. It's like there's kind of a bit of like letting go,
Mhm.
like shedding those corporate layers, like we were talking about a little bit. Like it's just those, yeah, just those layers. They don't. It feels like you take them off like one jacket at a time, like, oh, a little bit lighter after I quit, kind of.
Shit.
It's weird.
Shit. So
Those
there you go.
corporate, yeah, looking back, it's
Shit.
weird. It was so
Dude, it's
normal for
weird,
so
man.
long.
It like you said, I think it becomes part of you where you get hung up on the titles and the comfort that it brings, you know what I mean? And when you put something, when you put that much time into anything like that, it's gonna stick with you a little bit. So it makes
Yeah.
sense. So like how Marcus was asking earlier, so with that $44,000 deal, how did you figure out how to fund it? How did you flip it? What did that journey and process look like? Did you hit any traps that you didn't
Mhm.
expect to hit?
Ooh, yeah, good question. So I found it from a postcard. So I sent out postcards um, that I sent out postcards was my very first like paid marketing. My very first deal came from a Craigslist ad, basically posting an ad that said, "Do you need to sell your house? I'm not an agent." ... And then, "Do you need to sell your house? I'll pay cash. I buy any condition." And that's what prompted the call from the owner of the first house that I did the wholesale deal with. But then after that, I started reinvesting. I still not knowing what the hell I'm doing with regards to marketing, understanding like any of that stuff. Like now I'm looking back and how kind of surprised how little I knew. I was just trying to figure out what's the next step. What do I do next? So I went to Bigger Pockets. People talking about sending yellow letters or postcards. So I started sending postcards, and that's how I got a few wholesale deals, and then eventually got one where they owned the house free and clear. So that was working in my favor. It needed some work because it had been a rental for about 30 years. The renters had just moved out, long-term renters. So the owners knew that they would have to do some kind of renovating if they wanted to rent it out, or even if they were going to sell it on the market, they were going to have to clean, to replace the carpets. There's some stains here and there, and needed some repair work in general. Just outdated, had old windows. Um, Roof was good, which was, I was like, yes, they just did the roof a few a few years prior, so that was cool. But like original kitchen cabinets, and they knew that it was going to take some work, so it was a good setup so far. House needs work. They own it free and clear. I was really, from the moment I discovered wholesaling, like I knew I wanted to flip a house. Like I knew that was the end game goal. Like that was where I wanted to get to. So I was kind of waiting for the right one to come along. And so after I'd done it, I had I felt like I knew it a little, the whole process a little better now that I've done some wholesale deals, like kind of understand how the investing side of things work. So I felt I was like ready for this one. Like I would try it on this one. Like, all right, I'm ready enough to take that next step. Then I realized I got to pay cash for this place. I don't know where I'm going to get that, but we'll worry about that later. If they accept my cash offer. I tried to figure out, could I get hard money, which is a short term, 1 year, 2 year loan. at a higher interest rate, but doesn't really, hurt that bad because you're not holding it that long, but for the purpose of renovating a property. And I couldn't get a hard money loan back then because I didn't have any experience. They didn't want to lend me any money. I hadn't done any flips. I was a no one, on their radar. They could find nothing on me, because I was brand new. So I'm like, well, that's not really an option, I guess. But oh well, I'm not gonna let that stop me. So like, I still want to flip this house. I don't know. I know I have to make them a cash offer. I don't know where that cash is going to ever come from if they do say yes. So what can I do? So then I just hit up YouTube University again, Bigger Pockets. I'd heard of this idea of seller financing, and it sounded complex, and like, I just was like, okay, cash offer, easy. Like seller financing, that sounds like a mess. But I decided to look at it a little bit, kind of get an idea of what it is. And then I'm like, okay, so cool. So they can act as the bank. The seller can act as the bank. If they agree to sell me the house without me giving them money up front, and then I can give them some money in 6 months from now. So kind of piecing this together. And then that's when some good old Verizon wireless experience and the sales skills kicked in. I'm like, okay, the multiple options sale. We would bring out a basket full of accessories.
Oh shit, I forgot about this.
Offer, so we could sell you a case for, when you go work out, when you're, going out for a night on the town, case for your uncle, case for your sister, and then, a Bluetooth headset and, screen protectors, everything, right? Because we offered, the more we offered, the more they would buy. So I'm like, okay, multiple option. Let's figure something out with this. So I came up with a cash offer because I already knew how to do that. And then from there, I was like, okay, let me figure out 2 seller financing options and just give them all 3 options and see which one they accept. So based on my cash offer, I figured, which was 183,000. I knew that after repair value was about 290 or so. I knew, so that's kind of where, so to get my offer, I started at the after repair value, what a home had recently sold for nearby that had been renovated. Just kind of did my numbers backwards from there, trying to estimate it as best as I could, and came up with 183,000 as like a cash offer. From there, I created 2 more offers. One where I would pay them 0 up front, and in 6 months, I'd pay them 192,500. And I called it 6 months, same as cash. And I think I got that from a Circuit City thing. So it's like another retail, like I'm just pulling, like, I don't even think that's a thing in real estate, same as cash, but I don't know, it sounded good. So, which I'm basically saying, I'm not going to give you 0 up front, give me your house, and I'm going to give you 0, nothing monthly, but I will cash you out in 6 months. Not the most attractive offer, but it was kind of a placeholder. Because option B was, I'll pay you $792 a month. I'll pay you $190,000 for the house, so higher than the 183, and then plus I'll pay you 5% interest, which was $792 a month for 6 months. So they would end up netting 194 and change, like 194,750. So the highest net amount. So I made it kind of the most attractive offer by it being the highest net and something that I could pull off, $792 a month. Had the lower offer cash over here, which I don't know how I would pull off, but it's there. And then the other one, which if they say yes to the 0, 6 months, same as cash, I'm good too. That'll work. I'll take that one. So 2 out of the 3 were going to work. And even if I got worst case, they said yes to the cash, then I could go try and wholesale it.
You can wholesale it last, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of meat on the bone.
Yeah, there was enough there. So presented the 3 offers, and they went with option B. Just to like, it worked out like, oh, perfectly. Like it was going to work. Any of them would have worked, but looking back, I was like, oh man, it worked as planned, because I didn't think they were going to go for the zero, give me your house for nothing thing, because they weren't really like in a position. Some people will if they're like behind on payments, or if the conditions are right, but when you own a house free and clear, it's
Right.
less likely. So
Right.
but that was it, the optional close, and they went for it. And I was like, great, I've got 6 months now to make this happen. And because I owe them 190 grand in 6 months, or else, like, I'm not like looking like, what are they gonna do? So
that's
just
fucking cool, dude. Damn. Okay. So
So
while you're going, go ahead, Svante.
No, I was gonna ask. So where did you find these? So next you got the house possession. Now you need money to renovate this house. Where did you find this money?
so used up what little savings I did have, and then from there it was pretty much every credit card I had was just to the max. From there it was that would just tap them out. Renovation totaled about 34,000. So that part I couldn't figure out how it was not. That's basically tapped me out, and I was like, thankfully, like I couldn't figure out how to get them to pay for that. The seller, that would have been some trick stuff, but
Jedi mind trick.
But you will give me $30,000.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but that was it, and a lot of stress, and just going back and forth, and showing up one day, and the guy was supposedly on his break, but in the street flying a kite, like a unicorn, literally flying a kite. Like,
this is your contractor?
Yeah, this is the contractor.
You hire.
First and last job I worked with him on, but you learn as you go.
Yeah, you do.
Damn. Oh, that's fucking cool. So man, so that's your first big one. That's the one that helps you realize you can get the hell out. When did you hit a stride, man? When did it get real comfortable for you, where you're like, okay, I got this shit down?
Good question. From there, it was pretty much, it was deal by deal. For that first year, it was definitely deal by deal. I never, and pauses between deals. It wasn't like I had one even stacked up ready to go. It was, I would get a flip done, and then I would go hunting again for the next one, and then I would get it done and go look for the next one. Then I got to, that was okay. So then I'm a year in. I'm thinking, man, I'm working for myself. I'm the shit now. Like, oh man, I can wake up when I want. Like, no one can tell me what to do. I don't have to say yes to anybody. And and that, it was great. But I also, it was good that it didn't last forever, because I realized that's right around the time I discovered like self-development and all this community of people, of entrepreneurial people, like online and stuff, that are wanting to do better and trying to do better, and like, push and get to the next level. And then that's when I went to 10X Growth Conference for the first time in January of March of 2017. And I was like, wow, there's like way more I could be doing. I felt like the smallest like person like in that room, of like, wow, like I'm walking in there thinking, oh yeah, I'm badass, I work for myself. Like, like, because I, in a way, like compared to what I had been doing, it was like, it was that way. But like, it's like, oh, welcome to the real world of business and entrepreneur people that are just like, just crushing it. Yeah. And just like, I'm like, do I even belong in this room?
Damn.
But that's what got me really thinking, like, wow, you're nothing, like, or not nothing, but just like, you could be so much more, like you could be doing so much more. And that's when I discovered a bunch of, just like that conference changed my life. Like, as far as just like the people, influencers like that I met, mindset wise, like just concepts of that's where the Friendly Flipper name originated from, actually, was after going there. Yeah, just tons and tons of like growth, like from that one, like, growth conference, which just led to like, man, that's what led to Friendly Flipper, like the whole concept, the academy, the idea of scaling, the idea of helping other people, the idea of, wow, I'm actually kind of being lazy. Like, I'm just, if I could be doing so much more, then I'm wasting opportunity if I'm not now. So at first it was just like, how do I get out of the corporate world? How do I get away from this pain? And then now I got comfortable for a year, and then I got this like reality check of, okay, now it's like, you don't have any glass ceilings. There's no one stopping you now but you. So if you aren't where you want to be, it's entirely 100% your fault. Like, you can't blame it on anything else now.
Yeah.
And that was just like, damn, I could be doing so much more than I am. And that's when things got to that next level. I started going on social media, putting stuff out there, talking about houses. And prior to that, I didn't even go on social media. I had, high school Facebook friends. But yeah, just kind of took a lot of things and just ran with them, that I learned at that conference.
What do you think was the biggest thing that you took from the conference that you didn't have, that you implemented, that changed?
Oh man. To be myself, to truly be myself. Because Tim Grover actually came up on stage, and his thing, that my takeaway from his talk was like, if you're a nice guy, be a nice guy. If you're a dick, be a dick, but just be yourself, and people will respect you more for that. So I heard it from him. And then there was a guy named Hank Norman who told everybody to get on their phones, go on live on Facebook, tell the world who you are and what you do. And I'd never gone live. Like, that was like I avoided that, like, on my phone. Like, I don't want to hit that by mistake, and like someone might see me. Like, so, yeah, like, so it was like completely scary, and I didn't do it. He asked the whole audience, about 2,000 people, to, go on your phone live right now, get out of your comfort zone. And just getting out of your comfort zone in general, like that whole concept, like all of this was new to me. Like, I had done what I had done just to, so I could get away from my job. Like, I wasn't ever thinking about like, oh, wow, I want to change the world, or I want to like grow anything like crazy. I just wanted to flip some houses so I could replace my income. But then what Hank Norman also, with that, I chickened out. I didn't do it. Like, and so I felt like a bitch, like going back, like flying back on the plane. I'm like, damn, I didn't do it. Like, I fucking didn't. Like, why didn't I do that? Like, what's like, it's just like, and it's just ate at me. So I got back and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. You know what? I'm going to do it. Like, and it was just this battle in my head. Like, and I don't know why, but it's just like, I'm just trying to implement all the things that these guys and girls on stage are telling us to do, men and women are telling us to do, like, to improve our business. So I'm like, okay, well, he must be like onto something. So I got to at least try it. And now it's like this internal fear. Like, so now it's like, not only did he tell me to do it, but like, and it's probably something I should do, but like, why am I so afraid to do this? Why am I I don't want to get like,
it highlighted something for you.
Yeah. Cause like now, like, I was way quieter at Verizon, like way more just as a person, like just, I was not out of my shell nearly as much. I'm pretty introverted still, I think, but like I was way, was just like, I don't know, just for sense ever. But that was a part of me that I always wanted to kind of conquer too. So between the combination of Hank being like, go live, try it, do it, and it just like eating at me, like when someone tells you, like a mentor tells you like something that just like hits on a something that, like, oh damn, they're right. Damn, they're fucking right about that. That's what it was. But I was scared. I don't know why. I guess I was just, I don't know, nervous. So when I got the idea, I have this house flip I just finished. I'll go live and I'll talk about the house. And that way it gives me something to talk about. If I get nervous or whatever, I could just point at it, say, look at the paint on the wall. We just, whatever. Like, so I had that little safety net. And so that's what I did. And I went live, and it got over like 1,000 views on Facebook on the first, and I was like blown away. And I was like, wow, people actually enjoyed what I had to say about this house. And what the hell, Hank was right. Like, damn, that felt so good, because I was like, man, I felt like I had like conquered that next level of social anxiety. The best way to put it is like, I had a lot of social anxiety, a lot, kind of up until that point. So Tim Grover saying, be yourself. The idea that the corporate world is, it's, I don't have to act any certain way now. Grant Cardone saying, leaders have an opinion. Like, I would be very ho-hum, like, up and looking back, like very much like, well, sure, either way, yeah, okay. But Grant's just like, look, leaders have an opinion, and whether you're right, or you're wrong, but you're gung-ho on that. You're gonna do it. Like, that's it. You choose that, and that you go down that path. And that was huge to me too. Like, that resonated with me. I was like, okay, wow. So it like gave me permission almost, in a way, to like be myself and have an opinion and be okay to state it to the world. Like, the combination of Hank, Grant, and Tim, like, just like, it opened me, like, that's what, like, I guess pushed me to the next level. And those were the most massive takeaways from that conference.
Okay.
So
What does your business look like today, Jeremy? Of course, you're not flipping solo houses.
Yeah.
What does it look like?
So things have changed quite a bit. And I would say now, back to the question you asked, JD, I feel like I'm starting to get into a stride, a real stride now. Up until this point, been doing, quite a few. It got to the point of doing, a deal a month, and then even, multiple deals at this. Then if the first time I did like, multiple deals at the same time, well, that's pretty crazy. But it wasn't that consistent. And this was, they were there. There was always a deal there. It got to the point there was always a deal. Like, I always knew there was a next deal. But then it would be like, okay, we'd buy 3, and then it would be like, okay, there's nothing for a little bit. And then, so there's a little spotty. That was 2018 to 2019, kind of in there. 2019 got a little bit, well, let's see. So let me take it back to 2018 first. So I'm flipping solo, learn about 10x, taking, being able like to just do so much more than I'm doing. I connect with some other local investors in my area, one who happened to have been at that conference too, but I didn't know him at the time. Another investor who I had bought in a few properties that I flipped, he wholesaled them to me locally here, and we would run into each other at looking at properties. And then they knew a gentleman who was a contractor, who they introduced me to, and the 4 of us got together and formed Premier Real Estate Group. And that is consists of myself and 3 partners who kind of all bring a different bring something to the table. So I was the solo flipper dude. We had someone who was doing some wholesaling, doing quite a bit of finding a lot of deals, a real estate agent, and then a contractor, and we came together to form a company October 2018. So that was a big kind of next level shift. And then from there, that's when we had more more of us, we had more access to funding. We had some more experience now behind us. And then we started buying some properties at, we got more aggressive definitely with that. And we grew a little bit too quick in some ways on the buying side, because then we ended up with a few more properties than we could handle from a renovation standpoint, and getting into some issues with like long-term holding, like holding stuff long-term that we didn't ever intend to, where just the holding costs are just eating us alive, because we're waiting for permits to go through on plans, because we thought we could add some square footage to this. You walk into a place and, oh yeah, we could add some square footage. Like, I had never done it before, but I heard people could do it, and oh, it makes sense. All right, so let's try it. And man, that's a great way to learn some expensive lessons without like knowing what you're doing. Like, so, and we were doing some, had some good deals, of course, going, but there were a few just like major, just like, oh, those were, looking back, those were bad buys. Those were bad decisions. Like, so paid for we purchased those in 19 and really paid for that in 20. And that's, so 20 was a very much a learning year. 19 and 20, man. That's because it's like when I started to get good and then got a little bit too much ahead, and then realized, oh, I got smacked back down a little bit, like, just dang, like, you can make the big mistakes if you get a little too, if you don't stick right to the formula, or if you try things, like, just got to understand that, okay, well, things may not go exactly as they did so perfectly on that first flip or the other one. So, so that was interesting, but along with everything else that took place over the last 18 months in the world. So it's like this combination of like, okay, we're paying for our mistakes now a little bit. Like a year later, we're still holding a couple of these. Not now, thank goodness, but at the time, and that really was kind of that next level of humbling. Like, the first level of humbling was that grant card, the conference 10x, and then the second one was just like a 1920, where it's like, I think I'm starting to do good. You have some success, and then it's like, oh wait, boom, like, no, like, you fucked up, like, you can't do that. Like, that's all bad right there. So what that brought me to, but man, this is the stuff that builds the strength. Like, this is the stuff, looking back, it's like, man, this is like, I'm so much stronger now looking back, as far as like what I can handle, and just like your guts, like, you just become being able to, tolerate so much mentally, and like, because I'm at the same time, we're like forging this path. I've never been here before. I know people do it, but it's like, and
Hey,
it's on us, like, it's on me. It's like, I'm like, I got to make this happen. So
if you're not failing, man, you're not learning, you're not growing.
That's it.
So
that's it.
You got to look for those failures sometimes. And I know the housing market in California, and I was gonna say, if you still have those, man, you got some gems.
Oh yeah, I know. It's funny how things. Well, I said one of them we ended up selling the week that the plans got approved by the city council and stuff, and it just like, it was like painful, because I was like, when I go for something, I like to finish it, and sometimes, and to my, whether that's good or bad, and I think it's mostly good, but sometimes there's some things that you got to cut your losses, and I have a hard time doing that a little bit. Sometimes more than I think I should. I got to make sure I'm okay. This is a business decision. I'm not getting emotional about this. Like, and so that was one of them we ended up selling, like, and now it's probably, it would have been great, but we're looking back, the market, what's going to happen? Is the world going to end? Is like, interest, like, what's going to, we had no idea. So it was good that we just, cut our losses on some of those, but we're still flipping, steadily here at this point, but it's just like we've had a few of these. It only takes a couple or three bad ones to like really like affect like all of the good ones. So but it's just like, okay, we're just got to pivot, we got to make it through. It's like the world's changing. We got to make some adjustments to our business and how we do business. So that really was like, it prompted the next level of growth, and it really pushed us into where we are now this year, because we sold that last property beginning of the year. We were like all of our old baggage, and so as of right now, we've got 12 properties that we're working on, between from under contract to various stages in the renovation, from just started renovation to under renovation to on the market to sell to in escrow to close. And we'll do about 27 deals this year, maybe a couple more, but it's gotten now to like where we're buying a house a week, and that's where the stride starts to like come in, and it feels like everything, but that only started within the last 3 months that we got that consistent. And then now the goal is two per week, because the goal is 100 per year. That's where we want to get to. But now it's been getting it to, it's okay. Now we're 1 no problem. And then, now we're hitting ones and twos. And then just the other week, we hit our first week buying 3 houses. So, and I definitely could not do this by myself. Like this is, all, goes out to everyone doing their role, from John doing our acquisitions to Raul managing the projects and Eddie selling the properties, and me just doing my best to support really them in their roles and do whatever I can to take us to the next level, finding the funding, creating the relationships, working on myself as a leader. That's the biggest challenge I'm working on now. Like this is going away from house flipping a little to kind of entrepreneurial thing, but man, flipping houses is easier than being a leader in my personal path. Like I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot. Like regardless of what I was doing at Verizon, like the aspect of like truly trying to scale something and get other people on board and grow something, where it's like 1 + 1 = 5 kind of stuff, like, because it doesn't start that way, but like that's always been the goal. And that's why we come together, because we can do so much more as a group. But at the first, it's like, okay, well, we're not getting that exponential return from all of our combined effort yet. We got to just keep consistent and keep bringing it and keep adjusting and changing and just keep trying stuff and making a lot of mistakes and adjustments and but now it's gotten to the point where we're starting to I say we're firing on 5 out of 8 cylinders.
5 out of 8
at this point. I said we're like, because we do we reflected like, okay, like where we think we're at right now as a business, and pretty much all 4 of us came to the same answer, about 65-70% of like where, like, if we're honest, like of what we could even be doing right now, not like a future like 65-70%, but like, so it's a lot of fun. It's challenging, it's a lot of fun, it's making me grow, like, for sure. And I'm surrounded by great people, so I'm very fortunate to be around great people, because we all want the same thing, and we all have that vision of getting to 100 flips a year and then growing beyond that.
Sure, man. No, dude, I love it. I love hearing it. Now, knowing now you're feeling definitely getting into your stride, you're getting this groove down, becoming a better leader. That kind of transitions to my next question. What made you decide to start the Flipping Academy? You know, like did that come from you seeing a lack of help out there, your issues you or help that you wanted when you were going through it, or just wanting to change the world? Like what happened? How did that
Yeah,
go?
yeah. Oh man. So that came about right after that growth conference. So Hank Norman, the gentleman who told me to go live, he had a like a mentorship type of program, boot camp. After that, after the event, where digitally, like online, like once a week, like small group type of coaching program. And I was like, yeah, dude, this guy, like he literally that changed my life. Like going live, like I mean, who knows if we would even be talking today if I didn't go live and like go on social media and start being like showing people real estate flipping and stuff. Cause that's another thing, like a lot of like real estate investors and flippers and stuff, like they just operate behind an LLC and you don't know who it is. And they're like, it's just kind of like, there's almost like a negative connotation sometimes with real estate investors because people have the wrong idea, mainly because of ones that like will make us look bad by like not following through or not, you know, like not performing, stuff like that. But like, I wanted to be different. I wanted to be the face of the business. Well, after going to that conference, I was like, okay, I could be different. I could kind of set myself apart by, I will be the person that, yeah, I'm the dude that is flipping that house. Hi, I'm your neighbor. I'm the friendly flipper. What's going on? Hey, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like, so that brand, that idea also caused me to be like, okay, this is facing my social anxiety head on. This is like, if I commit to be friendly, I gotta like be friendly. Like, it's like, so it was like, man, a lot of aha moments and like real self-realizations like kind of went in and all kind of came together in a weird way, but maybe it's not weird. Maybe it's all how stuff's supposed to work. So Hank Norman's having this boot camp, and his question to me on a one-on-one call, we had 2 one-on-one calls with him, and his question was like, so what's your 10x goal? And I said, well, my 10x goal is to flip 100 houses a year. And I'm just thinking like, I'm like, oh, that's my puffed up my chest. Like, that's my 10x goal. How you like that? Like, and he's like, dude, that's not 10x. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, you flipping 100 houses a year isn't 10x. You helping 100 other people flip 100 houses a year, that's 10x. And I was like, damn, he did it again. Like right in the gut. Oh, I know he's right. Oh, got me. So that just pushed me to think like on a whole nother level. And at that time, at the same conference, a gentleman named Bradley, who owns a company called Lightspeed VT, a virtual education company, the same platform that Cardone University was on at the time. So just like basically the Ferrari of virtual training platforms, like super badass interactive video, like next level to most platforms that were actually all platforms. I'm still with them. And I was like wowed by the technology, because like I would ask, a virtual me would ask the student a question on the screen, and then I would just kind of wait there and look at my watch and like, you know, see if they would answer the question. And based on how they would answer it, like I would have different recorded answers like that I would tell their responses and stuff. And so I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like this would be a great way to facilitate you know, this whole idea of teaching. Like this is how I could do it. And teaching other people was like, oh, okay, so it was all this like kind of coming together, and then realizing like, okay, if I want to make an impact, like I can actually like, if I could teach other people how to do this, like that's like next level. Then I'm changing like not only like the course of my family history, but like I literally can help other people change the course of theirs. And I thought like, man, that's badass. Like if even just like someday someone's sitting back, like telling their grandkid, like, yeah, if it wasn't for, that, I don't know, friendly flipper and flipping that first house, we wouldn't be in this, like, have this
Yeah.
mansion today, like, or something like that. Like, I just thought that'd be so cool, like just to be a little, just part of like people's growth journey. And so I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's go for it. So built out the whole course, and just went top shelf with it. Like went for their best program and all this stuff. And it was great. Actually launched. It's gonna be crazy. It's crazy that it's gonna be almost 4 years. Or it is. But have been since then helping people get into fixing and flipping, wholesaling, and then that even evolved into, so it started as a course, but then it evolved into mentorship. So I also now offer mentorship programs, because I realized like there's only so, like, you can take a course and it's great, but like it leaves a lot to be like, it's just not the same as having step-by-step guidance like along the way, like okay, like specific situational house by house like guidance. So last year rolled out that product as well, which is mentorship and deal partnership, where I partner with people on deals in their area across the country, and they get access to my financing, my existing relationships with lenders, so they can basically fast track their way to financing a deal, whereas like back in the day I couldn't even get hard money. So giving them just really all the components they need to really minimize the learning curve and just accelerate the timeline from starting getting into it to actually getting a deal done.
So is it like one-on-one coaching, group coaching? So
yeah
combination?
Yeah, so one-on-one, there also is small one-on-one is the top level, you could say.
Okay.
And then also small group, and then there's the course itself, just the course alone, which is also, I mean, it's A to Z everything you need. So it's just kind of like what level of service someone desires, and where they really what they want to do. With the partnership, that one is kind of unique because a lot of coaching programs are, you pay for the coaching, but there's not really a vested interest in, the coach can tell you what to do, but their outcome, it may or may not be, hopefully they get the outcome, but at the same time, there's people that buy the coaching and then they don't get the outcome. So my whole goal is I want you to have success, and I want to have success too, because I love doing deals. Like, it's fun. I don't want to just be the teacher. Like, I would much rather be the teacher and be in on the deal. So with that, we partner on deals. So it's there's an upfront commitment, but then there's also partnering on the deal, which really allows me to give them, my all to close that deal. Like it's like I'll get like, which is like that next level of service, because like they need me to get on a phone with the seller, whatever time, talk to a contractor, do a virtual property walk with them on Zoom, like whatever it takes to close the deal, let's do it. And the sooner the better, like, because as soon as we both close a deal, like we both win. And then from there, they can decide, do you want to, do it on your own? By all means. Do you want to continue to partner on deals? We can do that too. We can talk even about different splits. Everything's negotiable. The whole idea is that we get you that first win, because then from there, you've got the confidence, you've learned a ton in the process, and then you can decide, where you want to take it from there.
I think that's huge, because a lot of people freeze up, even with the knowledge.
Yes.
They freeze up on following through with it, because they don't have, one, they still don't believe it's real. But then two, they don't have that person that's kind of already cut through the path to show them where to go and how to do it. So I think like being able to lean on you someone that's seasoned, that's done it more than a few times, and be able to say, hey, Jeremy, can you call this seller? And they're like, yeah, because you already know what to say, and it takes away that fear so they can move forward. I think that's huge.
Yeah, I'm there every step of the way. Whatever they're going to encounter, I've already been there, so I'm able to, like you said, either hop on the call, whatever, role play, whatever it is. Like I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get to the next. It's all custom tailored to get that individual a deal as quick as possible, and get them rolling.
And that's friendlyflipperacademy.com.
That's it.
All right, bingo.
Yeah, there's a short video on there, and if anyone's interested after that video, they can book a call, and we can hop on a call and talk about different options and see if we might be a fit to work together.
Okay. So are you going to keep up to $500,000 on the partnership deal?
No, you don't have to sign your life away.
Is that the next level?
It's completely voluntary. If they see the value in it and they want to keep doing deals up to $500,000, $1 million, splitting them, let's do it. If they don't want to, that's completely okay too. It's just to get you started.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great value. Now tell the people where can they find you in this social media world?
They can find me at The Friendly Flipper on Instagram, on YouTube, and pretty much all over at The Friendly Flipper. But I'm most active on Instagram, pretty much on the daily. And then I like to just show the life of a flipper, and post entrepreneurial and mindset stuff on there too. But just a lot of walking through houses, sometimes kicking crackheads out of houses that end up finding their way in the middle of the night. Never know what you're gonna see.
That shit was hilarious. Your crack flip, man. My boy was going through like I was telling you, he was strapping up like Batman and going in and kicking crackheads out the house in the middle of the night.
Available on YouTube.
There you go.
Is that included in the mentorship?
Case by case
how to handle
basis.
A crackhead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
Chapter 10.
Yeah.
Well, man, hey Jeremy, shoot, man. Hey, like I said, man, I appreciate your time. We didn't want to hold you too long, man. I think you just great story, but dropping a lot of jewels, you know what I mean, how people can get started. Shoot, any other questions for him, guys?
We just want to say thanks for sharing time with us, Jeremy. I love hearing your story. I love hearing you make that transition from where you were. I think definitely your story adds a lot of value for folks who are getting mentorship. They're going to get a lot from you as far as your experience. That mindset stuff is definitely, you should definitely expand upon that too. Definitely. I think that's going to be good.
And thank you, Devontae.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So once again, a great show with Jeremy. I was waiting for this one when JD said you're coming on. I'm like, all right, I got a couple questions, because wholesaling is tough. Real estate investing is tough. You got to be mentally strong. But man, what I hear from you is, man, you're fearless, man. You're fearless. So I appreciate hearing, how you just you did try a couple things, your entrepreneurial spirit, and, congratulations on your success. Definitely.
Oh, thank you, Marcus. I appreciate it, man.
Hell yeah, man. Keep doing your thing, bro. Like I told you, man, you, from the time I got into this, you've been the silent mentor for me, even though, I was around before the academy started. So
yeah.
Just watching your growth, bro, like you said, watching you transition from being, introverted and quiet to just really, really coming out of your shell has been awesome to watch, man. You always got a silent fan in me. Keep doing your thing, bro, and looking forward to doing, like you said, doing our first deal together.
Awesome, man. No, thanks, JD. I appreciate it. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on here and share and hopefully add some value to your audience.
All right. Well, hey, thank you again. Once again, this has been another episode of the Triple Profits Podcast. We're live every Thursday on now YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook. Join our group, Triple Profit Podcast. Thanks for everybody. You have a great evening. Peace.
All right.